particular studio, it is a basement studio, but we do have full windows, almost as if we were a classroom on any other floor of the building. Painters often say that they prefer to have daylight, and I'm sort of the opposite. I find that I can actually control my light better if it's completely dark, and then I'm lighting everything artificially, depending on which wall we're working on, which painting we're working on, things like that. I do often play with certain aspects of light almost as if emanating from within the work, and then other times there might be moments in the work where the light is seemingly emanating from within, but also there's the interruption of another light source maybe. So I do play a lot with light and shadows as a way to further exemplify certain spatial illusions that I'm trying to create in the work. In the Builders exhibition at the National Gallery, my work that is being featured is Augury. It's a 5x6 foot painting that started out predominantly with burnt reddish tones of color. By retaining a certain amount of that color, that light is able to spill out in the work. So the work is titled Augury because it is sort of about this spilling out movement, and augury refers to the idea of divination through entrails of small animals. So it's dealing with this idea of maybe allowing myself a bit of metaphorical play on what is factual, what is actual, that physicality of something that is somewhat fleshy spilling outward. And it seemed to play nicely with some of the movements that were happening in the work. I enjoy playing within the histories of abstraction while utilizing strategies of representation. So, for example, whenever I'm starting a painting, I'm embarking with an idea of a type of space in mind, and often a type of space that one would encounter in, for example, a landscape. So perhaps it's the type of space that one would discover when entering a cave, or the spatial relationship that we have to a tidal pool. I like playing with this idea because I think what ends up happening is that there'll be moments in the painting where you'll feel almost like you recognize something that might look like the ripple of a wave or the edge of a leaf, just with the way that the mark is made, but then it completely withholds from that reading because of everything else that's happening around it. And because it always comes back to being embedded within that realm of abstraction. And I think that this allows, based on feedback that I've received, that this seems to allow moments almost like little mini anchors for the viewer, where they're drawn in, they feel like they can recognize and relate to something, but then the rug is kind of pulled out from underneath them, so then they move on to like another sort of anchor moment. And I think ultimately it helps with that navigating, with leading the viewer through the work. What's really important to me is what they're seeing, what's actually going on in the work, what is happening in front of them. And I have a complete understanding of the fact that they're going to bring their own biases from, based on their own life experiences in relation to how they will navigate through the painting. One person might start initially focusing on the bottom left corner, someone else might find themselves drawn to the top right, and then both viewers will unpack the painting completely differently from each other and from the next person that might view it. And I actually really enjoy those opportunities, and I think that that's quite particular to abstraction, actually, that's a nice opportunity that abstraction can afford.